Friends, family, subscribers to the YouTube channel, Adventuring with the S.G.O.C.C. We are here kind of doing a bootleg video. So post-COVID, you can't get on the other side of this fence because they don't do tours anymore. And what is on this other side of the fence, we are adjacent to the Davis-Monthan United States Air Force Base.
Ooh, a butterfly.
What we have over the fence here is the 309th AMARG, which stands for Aerospace Maintenance and Regeneration Group. Yes, I have some notes.
How could you?
The reason being I want to get this right. So what they do is they have 3,100 aircraft here, spread over 2,600 acres in 3 different sites adjacent to Davis-Monthan. Everything from C-5s, C-130s, the communication airplanes that would fly over a war zone, AWACS. Lots of fighter jets, yeah, AWACS, all that kind of stuff. We brought the big pole with us because to get some of these shots, we're going to have to go way over the fence and get some distance shots. So behind me, you can see a number of aircraft. These are, I'm guessing, transport or aircraft such as that. Over this berm here, you can see the fuselages of a bunch of fighter jets. And this line of fighter jets goes as far as I can see along the inside of that berm. A lot of transport aircraft here. So all the aircrafts at this location are in four types. Type 1000 is a long-term storage, could be returned to active flight status. Type 2000 is a parts aircraft, which that section is going to be the wrecking yard. Type 3000 is what's called a flying hold, which means the aircraft are kept in flyable condition, can be returned to status and attached to an air group straight away. Type 4000, and during this whole soiree, we'll find one. Type 4000 is gutted. It's parts. It's waiting for the scrap man to turn it into razor blades and tin cans. So, pretty big facility. Dad and I came by this place a number of times. So, these are transport aircraft here. I'm going to guess and say this big silver one with the wings over Tim's shoulder with all the small windows is going to be personnel transportation. Whoopsie! Suffering some technical difficulties. Hang tight.
Hold on.
I'm trying to get this.
Hold on, I need to do something real quick just to make sure the mics are still working. Watch it! Are the mics still working?
Yeah, but you don't have to scream. So, Tim, if you want to come over here closer.
I got some good views all the way around.
So, this access road here, as you can see, lots of aircraft that are transport. There's one out there that you can see, probably, what is that, 5th or 6th one in, missing a tail section. You can see the discs on top of those AWACS in the distance.
Right there.
Just over these connexes, I'm 6'3", probably see it, let me see, Tim. You can see there is a Type 4000 plane right there. It's missing the wings, the tail, you can see through it.
And there's some
that's going to be a gutted one.
Parts over there.
Fighter jets here. Just, I mean, it's the whole thing is this area exists for the Air Force to preserve these aircraft. This is the desert. There's a number of reasons why it makes great storage for aircraft. Dry weather, little rain. The ground is alkali calcite, so it's like concrete. It's very hard. They don't have to pour tens of thousands of yards of concrete to store these planes on. The dirt is fine. So lack of humidity. all those things play into this facility being at the right place in all of America to facilitate this storage and the repair, update of all these different aircraft that serve our armed forces. So what we know is, I did a little research online. There is actually still B-52 Stratofortresses in this facility. There are a lot of F-16 fighting Falcons, lots of A-10 Warthogs, C-130 Hercules, which I'm not sure if these are those, but
C-130 Hercules have propellers, not jet engine.
oh, and then coming in, and on the way out, we'll take a look at them. The C-5 Galaxies are enormous. There's 60 of them on site. They're just off Kolb Road. The tail sections have to be 70, 80 feet high. They're just enormous. And there's also B-1B Lancers. We just showed you in the video the AWACS. It looks like dozens of those out here. Now, we tried to figure out what the storage is on these, if they had all fighter jets in one section or all transport aircraft in one section, and there's no rhyme or reason. There's some AWACS down there. When we get to another section, you'll see more AWACS. Just all different stuff.
Can't zoom in correctly.
So we're going to move on to another section. What we'll do is we'll film a lot of this, and then I'll make a playlist at the end to see it all, because we're going to try to do this justice and do an extensive video.
Do you
I pause it so we can bounce.
do you know what plane this is, guys? If you do, put it in the comments because I
We
don't
can't hear
know.
you. So this is a resumption of our tour of the aircraft boneyard, and I'll be right there. The wind's blowing, so it's closing the door on me and making a little more difficult. Brother Little just said, when you look down this corridor, that's a DC-10. Looks like a couple of them.
Oh, I'm over talking. Sorry.
Oh,
Not Jet. Apologize. Jet. Over talking Jet.
well, the wind was blowing the door closed
But
on me.
both C-130s on both sides. C-130, of course, is the classic cargo aircraft that's used all around the country. Personally, I've flown in probably a dozen of those over the years, coming in and out of Iraq or out of Kuwait or other locations while we were downrange. And then all the way at the end of that lane, we're talking your large personnel carriers. A lot of those are designed to hold modular compartments, so you can load in offices or beds.
Those are the ones where the cases or the containers are curved to the shape of the fuselage.
And so you can, I've known of circumstances where they've even built in-flight skiffs and offices so that personnel at certain ranks or positions can work on classified information while they're in transit. So a lot of this aircraft is still in use. And when I say that, I don't mean literally these planes, but this kind of aircraft is still regularly in use all across the U.S. military.
Well, it would be because of these planes that they are still in service.
That's likely the case. One of the pros and cons of the military acquisition process is that if you say have something like the C-130 Hercules, which isn't in regular production anymore, you have to either special order parts or you have to hold situations like this where potential spare parts are being held in place. Because they'll only do production runs of a certain number of parts, which isn't financially responsible, or there's probably a dozen different ways you can say it.
I imagine the cost.
The fighter jets, I'm guessing those are F-5s. I'm not as familiar with the fighter jets as I am with the cargos because I haven't ever flown those, obviously. But they look a bit like F-5s, which of course is the Iranians a few years back disassembled. They showed up with a new fighter aircraft, and when we actually got a good look at them, they were just disassembled and then reassembled F-5s. So which is equipment that the Shah had purchased from us well before the Iranian Revolution. They just were defunct because they could not hold.
So for our viewers, Tim's going to hold the camera up real high, and he's going to pan left to right.
I've already done that.
Do us a favor, viewers. Count how many tail sections, separate tail sections you see of similar aircraft. Now, clearly, on both sides of this aisle here, those are similar aircraft.
12 or 15 in a row, it looks like, at least.
Can't even see the end of this other row, where the row with the Coast Guard plane. Then the tail sections changed a bit in the transport aircraft. So, and there's a big building way to our west here, and there's all kinds of structures where they're obviously doing work.
Yeah, oh, it is.
There's thousands of planes here. They'll admit to 3,100. Who knows?
Well, that also depends on what they designate as a plane. There may be a certain point of disassembling that they're like, it's really not a plane anymore. I mean, I've been in motor pools in the Army after the Clinton era where they had 2 or 3 Humvees. There was nothing left on the Humvee but the frame. Everything, including all the bolts, have been taken off because they couldn't get replacement parts because the budget didn't exist for it.
At least one Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Again,
Coasties are well represented here.
we often talk about planes. It's for us, that's the Air Force. You know, the Navy's got almost as many planes as the Air Force. The Army's got almost has more aircraft than the Air Force does. It's just the Air Force is the premium plane, fixed wing aircraft, particular branch of the military. But the systems end up everywhere. So the Coast Guard flies them, the Navy flies them, the Army can't, and there's because of when the Air Force, the Army Air Corps broke off and became the U.S. Air Force from the Army. There was literally a document signed about what the Army can and can't operate and what the Air Force has.
I actually read part of that.
Yeah.
So the Army in fixed wing aircraft, not helicopters, because the Army has a boatload of helicopters.
Oh yeah, that's the whole. The Army has more aircraft.
In fixed wing aircraft, the Army can still fly to this day propeller driven aircraft.
And they do.
Jet aircraft is not allowed to be flown by the Army.
Well, so the U.S. Army maintains a small number, and I say small because I don't know the number, of manned, what's called collection vehicles. So these are aircraft propeller driven that fly out. They do operational collection. This isn't classified. You can look this up online. It's not a big deal. And we have a whole series of MOSs driven towards that particular function.
For
the vast majority of this has been handed off to the Air Force.
For the folks that don't know what MOS stands for?
Oh, Military Occupational Specialty. Your job in the Army. So, or Air Force, or Navy, they all have it. So.
Right on. All right, let's go find some more planes to look at. Because friends, family, friends, subscribers to the YouTube channel.
You don't have to keep starting over. It's just a pause.
We're having some artistic issues here with management. So,
if the old people listen to the new generation.
I'm a boomer. We built this.
A boomer?
Boomer. So, folks.
What are you to say?
This is a great shot here. You can see the back of that C-130.
Looks like a cargo net in there.
And there's a cargo net holding it.
Yeah.
Again, you can pack, you can pack lots of people in those things. I've flown into more than one place holding my helmet, trying not to throw up in it because you're coming in under fire or under threat.
Well,
or
at least they give you a receptacle.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like it's just going to be flying all over.
Well, because if it spills out of the hat, you have to clean the back of that thing when you leave.
Well,
so
hopefully they got fire hoses for that. So my quick observation here is we got rows of C-130s. We also have rows of C-5 Galaxies, the biggest cargo plane that America makes. You can see them, they're stacked up like cordwood. There's, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tail sections in a row.
Never count on a video. It's a rule.
What?
Never do math on a video, never count on a video, because you always screw up.
So I think I see about 6 in a row, and let's say there's about 30 of them there, maybe 40.
There's supposed to be 60 on site.
Oh,
So in the distance, we have smaller jets that look of a Lear type. We've got all these C-130s here in the foreground. In the far distance, looks like another collection or stable of fighter jets. They're small, white. I can't see them that well. But over here to the left, we have a white transport plane with a huge tail section that looks to be bigger than these C-130s in front of us. Some of these other tail sections are looking pretty big. That one seems inordinately larger than the rest. So it might be a one-off, who knows? We're just trying to give you an overview of this facility. Been here many times. This is the first time really taking a good hard look and making a video of it. I'm fascinated by military aircraft like a lot of people are. I would love if they still did tours, but they don't. Now, we're probably a good half mile from those C5A Galaxies. Look how big they are at a half a mile distance.
Well,
and it might be farther than that.
We all know how big a porta potty is.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get a good look at the C-130 compared to a porta-john. So the body's about 2 porta-johns tall. It's odd to think that that'd be our measuring device, but sure,
at least I'm gonna say two and change. So there's a lot of people in this country that served. Thank you for your service, Brother Little. That have been around planes like this their careers. I haven't. Neither Tim nor I served. So there's a whole bunch of other planes across the road that we're going to go take a gander at. If I remember correctly, there is a lot more fighter aircraft in that next section that we're going to go look at. So come with us. Let's go take a gander at these.